We are often taught that a high IQ is a biological lottery ticket. The assumption is that once a person crosses that threshold, life becomes a smooth, effortless path, a world where every problem has a fast solution, and success arrives with total confidence. We use figures like Albert Einstein as the benchmark for this ideal, the self-assured thinker who exists in a state of pure, detached contemplation. This cultural myth creates the expectation of a calculating mastermind who navigates the complexities of the universe without ever being hindered by the mundane friction of daily life. But when we look at the actual psychology of high IQ individuals, the reality is far messier. A sharper mind rarely equates to an easier life. Instead, it introduces a specific set of cognitive pressures that the average person never has to manage. Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski identified this as overexcitability. A high IQ brain operates with an overactive internal motor, absorbing sensory data and processing emotional input at a volume that is significantly higher than average. Operating this hyper-amplified nervous system is exhausting. The brain takes in so much information, from subtle social cues to background noise, that simply existing in a standard environment requires constant, taxing effort. Because this load is unsustainable, the gifted mind typically adapts by narrowing its focus. This results in 3 distinct behavioral profiles, each one a specialized strategy for managing a brain that refuses to power down. These behaviors are often dismissed as weird quirks, but they actually function as specialized defense mechanisms, allowing a hypersensitive mind to maintain its performance. The first profile is the chaotic genius, the externalizer. Their dopamine system is tuned for constant novelty, causing them to jump between ideas as if they have dozens of mental browser tabs open at once. This mental state is a high-level asset. It allows them to connect psychology, technology, and art into unique ideas that more linear thinkers would miss. However, this cognitive depth often comes at the expense of their physical environment. They have the chronically messy desks, the forgotten keys, and the erratic daily routines. This is a strategy of cognitive prioritization. Their brain sacrifices low-stakes information, like a misplaced phone, to surge power toward high-level problem-solving. They also show a neurological preference for being night owls. When daytime distractions fade, their brain focuses without sensory friction. The chaotic genius isn't disorganized by accident. They are aggressively managing their cognitive bandwidth for the tasks that matter most. The second profile is the social chameleon. Instead of focusing on data, this masker applies their intelligence to the complex patterns of human interaction. They experience intense emotional contagion, instantly picking up on social hierarchies, hidden motives, and the micro-expressions that define a room's atmosphere. This creates a constant, profound communication gap. While they crave discussions on philosophy or systems, they recognize that most social bonding relies on light, repetitive small talk. To bridge this gap, they use their pattern recognition to mask. They simplify their language and shift their demeanor to mirror the group, ensuring they fit in even when they feel internally disconnected. This adaptability makes them highly likable, but it carries a silent cost. Repeatedly suppressing their natural way of thinking can lead to a profound sense of isolation, even when they are surrounded by people. The third profile is the overthinker, the internalizer. Their brain functions as a high-resolution threat detection machine, running constant simulations to predict every possible failure scenario. They often use private speech, talking to themselves out loud. Psychologists recognize this as a tool for cognitive regulation. It helps the brain organize the overwhelming amount of information in its working memory. This chart illustrates the inverse Dunning-Kruger effect. Because they understand the full complexity of a subject, they are painfully aware of the gaps in their own knowledge, leading to chronic imposter syndrome. This predictive ability turns simple choices into exhausting mental documentaries. They analyze every possible outcome of a text message or a minor decision until they reach a state of analysis paralysis. This chronic anxiety is the direct byproduct of a brain that simulates the future with too much resolution. Ernest Hemingway famously remarked that happiness in intelligent people is the rarest thing I know. Whether they are externalizing their thoughts, masking their identity, or overthinking their decisions, These archetypes are attempting to navigate a world that operates on a different cognitive frequency. The most significant psychological threat to these individuals is the attempt to force their brains to operate at an average baseline. Attempting to suppress these natural adaptations leads directly to gifted burnout, existential depression, and a sense of standing just outside the world everyone else belongs to. If you recognize yourself in the lost keys, the social mirroring, or the midnight rumination, it is a sign that your mind is functioning as it was designed to. The isolation of a high IQ mind is often solved not through changing the brain, but by finding an intellectual tribe, others who share that same cognitive intensity. Connecting with minds on the same wavelength turns the weight of these overexcitabilities back into tools for creativity and contribution. Intelligence ultimately manifests as a mind that refuses to stop exploring, a brain that persists in peeling back the layers of a world that others are content to leave unexamined.